Today, we are talking about postbiotics. We hear a lot about prebiotics and probiotics when it comes to gut health, but we hear very little about postbiotics. That's what we're going through in this presentation. And you guys already know that this video is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition, and it's for informational purposes only. The video is not a treatment protocol and does not replace a consultation with a healthcare practitioner. And so when we think about gut health, we think about three key things: probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics. And so prebiotics are non-digestible carbohydrates or dietary fiber found in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These nutrients feed the probiotics in your gut. And probiotics, of course, are live gut microorganisms that provide health benefits to your body. And probiotics also help fend off harmful bacteria species in the gut. So they compete with them. They release compounds that have antibiotic characteristics that help negate bad bacteria. And, interestingly, prebiotics, we think about those only coming from plant foods, but many experts now are starting to think that collagen tissue. So, there are some people that do very well on a carnivore diet. Not everybody, but there are some who do. And we're starting to think that collagen tissue actually acts as a prebiotic as well to support the gut microbiome. It's almost like animal fiber. And then, we've talked about prebiotics and probiotics. Now we got to look at postbiotics. And postbiotics are the metabolites that are produced by probiotics through fermentation that possess health-promoting effects and protective roles. These vital metabolites regulate almost all aspects of your health. And so postbiotics are really where the magic happens when it comes to a healthy gut microbiome. So we know that when you have a healthy microbiome, you get the proper response from your immune system. And when you have dysbiosis or poor and unbalanced bacterial communities, you end up with either a weakened immune response or an over-exaggerated immune response. So we can end up with things like autoimmunity, allergies, more susceptible to colds, fevers, flus, right? Different issues like that. And so that's why it's so important to have a rich and balanced bacterial community. And we know that gut dysbiosis is the term we use when there's an imbalance of bacteria in your gut. And this happens when you lose beneficial bacteria in your gut. You get potentially harmful bacteria taking over your gut. You have less diverse bacteria in your gut. So diversity, when microbiome researchers are looking at the health of your microbiome, a key measurement that they look at is the overall diversity, the amount of different species in your gut. And what they found is that the more diversity, the greater the amount of species, and kind of keeping all of these species in check, that actually is associated with better metabolic health, better immune response, less inflammation and autoimmunity. And the less diverse your gut microbiome, the greater amount of inflammation in your system, the worsened metabolic health that you have. So we want to have really good diverse bacteria. We also want to make sure the bacteria are in the right places. We don't want to have really, when it comes to our digestive system, we have very little bacteria in our stomach, a little bit more, but still not, a significant amount in our small intestine. And then kind of in the end of our small intestine, moving into our large intestine, that is where we have a lot of bacteria in our large intestine and colon. And that's kind of how we want it. When bacteria translocate and move into different areas, that is a form of dysbiosis where they may even be good bacteria, but they're in the wrong location. So they'll over ferment things. They'll ferment food and make certain types of postbiotics too early in the system, which can cause more bloating, cramping, and issues, right? Because postbiotics can be, we think of them, and in this presentation, we're talking about them in a very healthy manner. However, they can also be unhealthy if we have bad bacteria, because bad bacteria, their postbiotics are toxins, right, that damage our system. Or if we have too much bacteria in our small intestine, they are going to take some of the key nutrients we need, and they're also going to produce a lot of gases, methane and hydrogen gas, that can cause issues with constipation, that can cause issues with diarrhea, and just unwanted digestive issues and poor absorption of key nutrients. So really important that we keep things in check. We know that, your gut lining is one cell wall. There's only one cell wall that separates the inside of your gut from the bloodstream. And on top of that is your mucosal membrane. And a healthy gut works like a cheesecloth, allowing only nutrients through, but keeping large food particles and pathogenic bacteria, yeast, and parasites out. However, in a leaky gut, so when the gut becomes leaky, we also call this intestinal permeability. The tight junctions, which are kind of this fibrous tissue that holds the cells together. All right. The tight junctions are loosened, so undigested food particles and pathogens can get through and activate the immune system. And that causes inflammation and food sensitivities. The body's trying to prevent against some sort of systemic infection from killing us, right? So, if we get too much bacteria, too much parasites, too much unwanted microorganisms in our bloodstream, those microorganisms can get into our lungs. They can get into our nervous system. They can cause things like pneumonia and meningitis. And so, and that obviously that will kill us quickly. So the immune response or the inflammation is actually keeping the pathogens under control, which is key for survival. However, it also kind of slowly damages all of our tissues and ages us, accelerates the aging process. And so we want a healthy gut lining. We want these tight junctions to be really strong and stress resilient. And postbiotics greatly help with that. And so a postbiotic is a preparation of inanimate microorganisms and or their components that confers a health benefit on the host. They may contain, again, inanimate microbial cells or microbial cell fragments. So it's sometimes just fragments or structures. And some of these, again, types of postbiotics, when, again, in this presentation, we're talking about these things as having great health benefits. However, they can also be, certain types of postbiotics can be damaging, like lipopolysaccharides, for example, which can drive up inflammation in the system. So different types of postbiotics, you can have different cell walls, membranes, cell wall anchored proteins. You can also have things like organic acids, peptides, small chain fatty acids. That's a big one that we're going to talk about. Short chain fatty acids, I should say, SCFAs, right? So short chain fatty acids and organic acids, as well as enzymes and bacteriocyanins, which are kind of these antibiotic-like components that are secreted by bacteria and are considered a postbiotic. And so different types of postbiotics that are health benefiting, we have things like, just different types of nutrients. And so good bacteria, they actually eat toxins and they produce nutrients like B vitamins, vitamin K, various amino acids. Again, they release natural antibiotics that suppress the growth of bad bacteria. They produce short chain fatty acids, which optimize your acid base balance in your digestive tract. They promote the growth of good bacteria and suppress pathogens. Short chain fatty acids are a powerhouse postbiotic. That's one that we really want. Something called butyrate, for example. That's kind of the most well-studied short chain fatty acid and butyric acid or butyrate. And that's one that, we definitely want elevated. We want to be producing this in our gut microbiome. You can also supplement with it as well. You can also find some of it in small amounts in foods, like, for example, grass-fed butter or ghee has butyrate right in it, that postbiotic, that short chain fatty acid. Another form of postbiotic is carbohydrate active enzymes, which help probiotics digest fibers to produce postbiotics. So the better you're producing postbiotics, it's like it's a positive cycle. The better you produce them, the better your body gets at producing them, because the postbiotics support the probiotics, which give them greater strength and ability to produce more postbiotics. And then things like hydrogen peroxide, which suppresses the growth of candida and other yeasts. It's natural antimicrobial. You use hydrogen peroxide on your skin, for example, to sterilize a wound. Well, your body will also produce it as a postbiotic, which helps keep candida and other yeasts under control in the system. So again, the idea here is that you eat prebiotics, which are, a specialized type of fiber that we find in fruits and vegetables, from a carnivore perspective, the collagenous regions, like eating a joint capsule, so if you're eating a chicken wing, like eating the actual joint capsule, the harder kind of rougher parts of the meat, which, in general, most people avoid. In today's day and age, we like the muscle meat that's really easy to eat, but those more fibrous parts, or I should say more collagenous parts, are kind of like a prebiotic for the gut microbiome as well. And of course, we know, fruits and vegetables are rich in prebiotics. And so the bacteria consume those, and then they produce the postbiotics, again, like short chain fatty acids, which are the most well-studied postbiotic. So these postbiotics support a healthy microbiome. They reduce harmful pathogens. They strengthen and create more resiliency in the intestinal lining, so helping prevent against leaky gut formation. They lower inflammation and oxidative stress. They reduce food sensitivities and intolerances, which is really key. So if you have food sensitivities to a number of different foods, like if you get a test done, you've got sensitivities to a number of different foods, one of the best things you can do is support your system to produce more postbiotics or supplement with a high quality postbiotic, which I'll go through at the end, to help get rid of those food sensitivities. And then, of course, they also improve blood sugar and metabolic health as well. So one thing you can do to support your postbiotic health is drink apple cider vinegar before meals, right? So just taking 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and about 4 to 6 ounces of purified water activates your digestive juice production. So you start producing stomach acid, bile, and pancreatic enzymes more effectively. And then the acetic acid that's in the apple cider vinegar is a postbiotic. So it supports your gut microbiome as well. So you get more resiliency and strength in your intestinal lining, which lowers inflammation in your system. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, I started drinking apple cider vinegar every single day and my blood pressure balanced out, right? Like I had high blood pressure and now my blood pressure is stable. And so why did that happen? Was there specific nutrients in the apple cider vinegar? Well, not necessarily in the way that we think. It's not like apple cider vinegar is rich in vitamin C or anything. However, but it is rich in postbiotics, and those postbiotics help to strengthen the intestinal wall, bringing down inflammation and support the microbiome, right? So they help create a healthier microbiome. And that's really the key. Now, you also have some great fermented foods that you can consume, and these are rich in prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Things like sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented ginger, pickles, beet kvass, grass-fed yogurt or kefir, grass-fed cheese, coconut milk yogurt or kefir, right? Lots of really, really good things that you want to consume unless you have some sort of histamine intolerance. For some individuals, when they consume fermented foods, they break out in hives, they get rashes, they have headaches, they have a runny nose and congestion. Their body is not able to metabolize the histamine compounds that are in these fermented foods. And so if that's you, you actually want to avoid them and instead find supplemental postbiotics. And again, I'm going to go through that shortly. But when we think about fermented foods, what do they have? They have acetic acid, the vinegar, they have gluconic acid, they have lactic acid, enzymes, probiotic organisms, oftentimes a lot of B vitamins, B1, B2, B5, B6, hyaluronic acid, and glucaric acid. And these are all postbiotic compounds because they're produced through the fermentation process. You can also find things like kombucha, kimchi, kombucha, and coconut water kefir, right? I didn't mention that some of the best fermented drinks, but kombucha, coconut water kefir, of course, we talked about apple cider vinegar, all rich in these postbiotics that really support your gut microbiome. And another form of postbiotic are bioactive carbon compounds, right? So bioactive carbons are produced from the soil. So they are produced when the microbes break down soil and break down different compounds in the soil. And they produce these compounds called fulvic and humic acids. You may have heard of them, fulvic and humic acids, which are part of kind of a communication process in the soil that helps bring nutrients into the plant. And these bioactive carbons, they help support they have amino acids in them. They are rich in minerals and trace elements. They have natural enzymes. They have toxin binding elements as well that can help pull toxins out of the body. They also are natural antimicrobials, and they help to buffer oxidative stress. They're really, really powerful. One of the most well-studied is Himalayan SHILAJIT. And this is a black tar-like substance that is made from the decomposition of plant matter, just like I was talking about. It's a postbiotic of bacterial fermentation, and it's extraordinarily rich in humic and fulvic acids and minerals. It's been used in Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years, and studies have shown that it improves mitochondrial function, supports cellular energy production, has over 84 minerals in it, toxin binding elements, supports brain and memory function, immune health, hormone levels, right? Some people will take SHILAJIT, for example, men will take SHILAJIT to help support their testosterone levels. And it's been shown to help support that because it's reducing toxins, bringing minerals directly into the cells, right? Where they can function better and supporting and improving mitochondrial function. So these things are great. Fulvic acids, humic acids, SHILAJIT, great things to be utilizing. And then short chain fatty acids, they're most well known for their ability to strengthen the tight junctions in the intestinal membrane, right? So creating stronger, healthier, tight junctions, gets rid of leaky gut, gets rid of a heightened immune response and inflammation, and improves overall digestive health as well as immune health. And so one of the best ways to get this, especially if you're dealing with histamine issues, I recommend doing some sort of bioactive carbon product, and also this tributarin X, which is a clinically formulated form of butyric acid that is really, really good for supporting leaky gut healing, histamine and mast cells, right? So it helps suppress the histamine response, helps promote microbiome diversity, and encourages regular bowel movements. And then also I couple that with bioactive carbon minerals. This has got the fulvic acids in it to drive minerals deep into the cells of the body. It also helps support detoxification, mitochondrial health, and cellular energy production. And so these are two postbiotics that you can consume just as a supplement to really help jumpstart your health. Overall, you really want to be able to get your postbiotics from food sources. However, for many individuals, they're already so compromised. Their gut is so damaged that they really need to jumpstart their health. And that's why I love tributarin X, as well as the bioactive carbon minerals, and utilizing these on a regular basis to support your overall gut health. Guys, if you're looking to get these products, just go to drdavidjockers.com, our store, use the coupon code JOCKERS10 at checkout to save 10%. Again, it's the tributarin X and the bioactive carbon minerals. And usually we'll do one tributarin X twice a day. So we'll start with one once a day just to make sure the person's tolerating it. Then we'll go up to one twice a day with meals. And then with the bioactive carbon minerals, we'll do 10 drops in water twice a day, right? And we may go up to 20 drops in water twice a day, depending on the individual, but a good safe spot is 10 drops in water twice a day to really help energize your system, support your gut microbiome, support your hormones, support energy, mitochondrial energy production. So these things make a big impact. So hopefully you guys like this training. You know, obviously we went through prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics. We also went through some unique things when it comes to, you know, a carnivore diet or an animal-based diet, how it could actually be providing some level of prebiotic to support postbiotic function. Again, there are people out there that seem to be able to do well on a long-term carnivore diet, at least long-term in terms of, you know, doing it for months or even years at a time. This is not something I recommend on a regular basis. However, there are some individuals that have done well, most likely because they're consuming collagenous regions of meat that have a prebiotic-like structure with the kind of hard collagen, collagenous meat that is tougher to chew, those compounds that are in there, right? Our gut bacteria will break down and can produce postbiotics through those. So anyways, that's the thought. That's the idea. That's the theory with it. So again, we went through a lot in this presentation. Guys, if you haven't left us a review, please do. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can also ask questions below. So anyways, everybody, be blessed.